I've noticed something about the mind and the body, and that is that the mind is very seldom in tune or in touch with what the body is doing. And in a way, the mind doesn't even know how to be in tune with what the body is doing. Just for an example to get the ball rolling. Think about the last time you were sick, or I can think about the last time I was sick. I was very run down, chills and a fever and a cough and a headache and, not wanting to do anything. Who knows, it could have been COVID. But as far as I was concerned, I was pretty irritable. Like I said, didn't want to do a lot of stuff. I just wanted to lay in bed. I was wishing for this sickness to be over. I was wondering what to do, or like what to do to make myself feel better. I was bored because I didn't want to do anything, but I did want to do stuff, That's what my mind was occupied with. That's what my mind was thinking about. But meanwhile, while I was thinking about that, my body was inflaming itself and making itself sweat profusely and getting cold and hot, and it was fighting off this foreign body bacteria that had infiltrated this system right here. My body was working on getting rid of this bacteria, this virus, but all my mind was doing was bitching and moaning about how I don't want to feel like this. And the reason I use this as an example is because our body is constantly, 24/7, the whole time that you're alive, sustaining itself. And we're off in La La Land, in another world, worrying about all this make-believe imaginatory stuff that doesn't essentially amount to anything when it comes down to life itself. And we're leaving our bodies alone. We're leaving our bodies in the dust. We don't even know our own bodies. We're hurting our own bodies just by being in this dissociated mind that is not in touch with the body it is a part of, And you think if you were to tune your mind into what your body is doing, it's going to be boring. If I tune my mind into my breathing, something my body's doing right now, my mind doesn't want to stay there. It doesn't want to stay with what my body is essentially doing. Or the heartbeat, beat, 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 beat. I can't just sit and think beat. I can't just sit and think in and out, breathing in, breathing out. I can't just sit and think thinking. I can't just sit and think feeling or being as a whole. My mind is dissociated, thinking about all this other stuff, while my body is alone, The only time we worry about our own bodies is when it has to do with our mental landscape of who we think we are. If you're getting fat, now you're going to get insecure and people aren't going to like you. It's not like you care about the condition of your body. You're worried about what people egoically are going to think of your ego. Or if danger comes your way, it's not because this vessel is in danger. It's because who you think you are is going to die, and you can't die. You need to stay alive, And like I mentioned earlier, you get sick and you're thinking about how bad this is, and you're all irritable and bored and you want it to be over, and you're at your wit's end because of it. But your body is just going about its thing, doing its thing, burning off this toxicity, this virus. And your body is honestly, in a weird way, in a paradoxical way, very simple. Just sitting here, being itself. Our minds are somewhere else. Our minds are doing something other than what this body is doing. Our minds are trying to make out this body. Think about what you think about, what we think about on a day-to-day basis, and then think about what your body is doing on a day-to-day basis. It's breathing and beating its heart while you're sleeping still, running the dreams and all the thought processes behind that. Wakes you up. When you get hurt, it perfectly sends signals to respond to your brain that in that particular area is in pain or stinging or whatever type of pain or trauma it is. When you drink water, that's all you do into it. And your body does the rest in dispersing it through your body and absorbing the nutrients and the hydration out of it and replenishing itself. You're not doing any of that. You're just drinking the water because that's what this body thing needs. Food, that's what this body needs. But even then, it's more so an egoic level that I'm hungry, or I'm thirsty, or I'm tired, or whatever it is. What are we gonna be thinking about if you tune into what your body's doing? Because then you're just gonna be being with what you've been being, minus the mental dimensions that you go off into. Be with the breath, be with the sight and the sounds and the smells. Feel yourself being alive. And tune into that rather than all these dreams and goals and desires and ambitions that we've obligatorily had put into our heads that take us away from this eternal, essential being that we are. And this being, at least I've realized or come to think, when you tune into the body, your body, you realize that this body expands to everything. This is my body. And I'm just here. This is my body functioning. And in the same way I can go off and think and be distracted from this, I can go off and think and be distracted from all of this around me as well. And that's because the body and this environment are one and the same. It's the same thing. This environment is what feeds this body. This environment is what hydrates this body and warms up and cools down this body and makes this body sick and makes this body better and cures this body and kills this body. It is completely intertwined, this with all of this. But our minds are what are doing something fucky, are what are doing something weird. We think we know, and we think we've created this backdrop to how it all is. This is how it is, you know? This is who I am. And by leaving our bodies in the periphery, we're leaving this entire universe in the periphery. Because this universe is our body. Whether you want to call it one or multi or, you know, multiple awareness or whatever way you want to think of it, here we all are. You know, here we all are in this. This is it for you. This is it for me. You can call it shared. You can call it one. But we leave it, we forget about it when we go off into these realms of thought and imagination and concept, really, concept. But the real reason I'm making this video is because you can use that conceptual mind to tune in to what the body and this entire thing is doing. This entire universe is doing. By simply paying attention to your breath, paying attention to your sight, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're smelling. You can pay attention to what you're thinking, but that's where it gets really tricky, you know, and although the thinking mind is a part of this body, it's what we're trapped in. It's what we've become caught up in. So observing the thinking mind might not be the best option. Maybe pay attention to your breath. Or if you must pay attention to your mind, pay attention to a single thought, a single word, a mantra. It's basically the same as paying attention to your breath or your vision or the sounds or the sensations of feeling. It'll narrow your mind down to the essence of what it's doing, being thinking. Because it's just going to be one thought eventually. Same thing with the breath, same thing with any mantra you use of focus, but the mind can just be a little more complex. But you can use your thinking, distraught, deluded, conceptual mind to tune back into this simplistic, eternal thing that you are, but that you've forgotten about. You'll come to realize this entire thing is alive, inside and out. There isn't a bit of it that isn't conscious. There isn't a bit of it that isn't aware, that isn't unique and intelligent and divine and special and completely incredible. It's all magic. It's all miraculous. It's all spontaneous energy. Just it's wordless. Like I said, it's incredible. But that's what you're doing. That's what your body's doing, is this incredible thing. This whole thing. It's breathing. It's breaking down. It's on and off, in and out. Think about the amount of fluctuation. Every breath you take, every transition of thought you have, how you go from hot to cold, hungry to full, hydrated to thirsty, wakeful to tired, bored to horny, happy to sad, to angry, to jealous. The seasons constantly shifting, the cycles of the insects and their lifespans, and the flowers and the leaves shifting in color, and the snow and the plants growing and changing. There's slow and there's fast changes, or vibrations, or rhythms, you could think about it as. You know, the breath, or it's really quick, and your thoughts are even quicker. You can't even catch them. You can't even catch how quickly your thoughts are transitioning from one to the next. But, you know, your breath is a very quick rhythm. How quickly the earth travels around the sun, 365 days roughly. That seems like a long rhythm. How long you're alive, that seems like a really long rhythm. Not long enough for some people. Mountains breaking down into sand, making its way to the bottom of the ocean floor to essentially become the crust once again, all settling down. Water, the oceans evaporating up into the sky, only to saturate with vaporous clouds and rain back down. And how it all ties in together. It makes you think, or at least makes me think about how dissociated my mind is from what this universe is doing. The dimension of thought is what we're all living in. And it just makes you wonder what the world would be like, what we as individuals would be like if we tuned into what we've been doing our whole lives, rather than trying to get to the next thing, do the next thing, achieve the next thing, get rid of the next thing, obtain the next thing. Whatever it is this mind is doing, it pulls you away from the moment that is this body, this universe, and yes, this mind. But you need to do a lot of insight into the mind to see your mind being a mind by using your mind. You know what I mean? The mind is very sticky. I hope you all roughly know what I'm talking about here. We're all off in another world that has nothing to do with this, unless it betters this ego that we think we are. Your ego doesn't include your breath. Your ego doesn't include the circulation of your blood and oxygen and the neuronal messages that are going off between neurons and neurotransmitters. Who you think you are doesn't include any of that. And the development and the mitosis of your cells. And like I was speaking about earlier, the fighting off and the defense mechanisms of bacteria and foreign bodies and cuts and healing cuts. What is who you think you are have to do with, what role does who you think you are have to play in any of that? Any of the stuff that's keeping who you think you are going, that's allowing you to keep being who you think you are, that's allowing you to keep thinking about who you think you are all the time. We take this thing for granted, this thing that is life, that doesn't stop at the edges of your skin, but goes on for infinity, you know? And it's sort of a reflection of this mind thing as well. The mind goes on for infinity. You can't see the edges. Where does it stop? What's it inside of? Where did it come from? Where is it coming from? Where's it going? The entire thing going on here is like this. It's paradoxical. It's inside out, coming from nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. And that's you. That's who you are. This spontaneous, miraculous thing, you know? So get in tune with that. Get in touch with that thing, you know? Stop thinking you're this little normal, sad, victimized person that's all fucked up, you know? We all got a story, and we all use that story to step up our ego game, because it helps that ego out. It helps other egos out by having such a brave and phenomenal ego story, a heroic story. But you know, what's more heroic and what's more brave and courageous is this very experience. Deciding to be in the first place, as if it's not even a decision. It's just the way things have to be. And don't you feel lucky a little? Don't you feel a little lucky that this life thing decided to be a thing in the first place rather than nothing at all? And I mean, I bet some of you are in a position where you'd say, oh, I wish nothing was happening at all. But I think that's a defense mechanism. You'd love for something to be happening, but in a good way. So you'd rather it be nothing at all, so there's no sense of anything to begin with, as if that's better, you know, that's a better alternative. But no, I feel like these people that think like that would much rather settle for a more pleasurable, interesting, creative, loving, and rich experience, rather than no sense of experience whatsoever. That's just what they've come to because of the minds that they live in. Everything's breathing very quickly, very slowly. And you are that. That is you. You are this. No need to worry about it. No need to think about it. I mean, it's good to give it a little bit of thought, give it a little bit of time. But I feel like eventually, with putting enough thought into it, you'll come to a point where you realize you don't need to think about it. You can just be with what is and be okay and be here now. But I think that's it for this video. I'm walking up through my field right now. Super humid. It feels like a storm's about to roll through. Gonna go get this video uploaded. If you're still watching, tomorrow I'm going to be recording a collaboration conversation with Shaman Tim from the channel Psyched Out. So if you want to see that, that'll probably be up within the next 2 to 3 days. But yeah, that's it for this video. And with that said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later.